Welcome to Her Imprint, part of the Impressions Exchange. I'm Denise Gustafson, your host. This podcast celebrates the remarkable women who are transforming the printing industry. We'll explore their journeys, from challenges to triumphs, and share the stories that leave a lasting imprint. Today, I have with me Kimberly Lawton Koon. She's the president of Lawton Connect. So Kimberly, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. To get us started, can you tell me a little bit about Lawton Connect and a little bit about what you do there right now?
Sure. Lawton Connect is a fifth generation business. I think we're the nation's oldest continuously run family printing company in the country. So we were founded in 1900 by my great grandfather. But we are pretty much a general commercial printer with some novelty style businesses also. We have a company called Pinhole Press, which is more in the photo market. We have Mr. Scratch Off, which is scratch off specific printing. We have a playing card company, Mr. Playing Card, and then we have Lawton Connect, which is the general commercial printing side. So we have a lot of fun with all of our little niches.
Definitely. I'm thinking like scratch off lottery tickets and other things like that.
Yeah, it's not the lottery tickets. We
Okay.
have done lottery tickets for Haiti, I think we did, and then we did some other Caribbean islands of theirs, but mostly it's retail promotions or employee rewards, advent calendars. There's a lot of fun things that people are using scratch off cards for.
So I can imagine retail sales, really scratch to reveal your discount for whatever,
Exactly.
things like that.
Exactly. And we partnered with HP maybe 8 years ago to do a full color scratch off product. Using their presses, they used our technology. And so instead of just a little silver piece or a gold piece, you can actually scratch off an entire color image or whatever that color is and reveal what's underneath that. There's some really creative ways people are using scratch off cards.
I had never really thought about all the things that you can do. I'm just, it's just a little scratch off thing. I never really thought, I've been in the industry for 26 years. It's not something I've ever wandered down in terms of a product. So
Yeah.
very interesting.
Thanks.
So fifth generation. So you, your great grandfather started the business. So I guess the question is, did you have a choice to stay in the business or to go outside?
No, it's a good question. I had really no interest in doing it. I always loved the business, though. I grew up in high school, walking around a bindery table, loading pockets on the saddle stitcher, working as a customer service rep on my summers or some minor graphic layout kind of stuff. So ink has always been in my blood. But no, I was in engineering college and got married. I was living in Nashville and my dad called and just said, "Hey, just want to let you know that we're going to sell the company. I think I'm ready to retire." And we hung up and my husband and I, Tyler, we thought about it. We were like, man, what if we were to figure out how to buy the business and we were to move to Orlando and take on this challenge? That's what we did. We moved to Orlando. We learned the industry from the ground up. It was right when digital printing was beginning and my dad had just bought the Indigo Platinum 1000. So that was like right when it came out. We really embraced digital technology right away because being a little younger in the industry, we saw the fun in that.
Definitely. So your background is in engineering. What kind of engineering?
I was a mechanical engineer.
What did you picture yourself doing on that track?
I thought technical consulting. I had looked at maybe designing cars. I was looking at working for NASA one day. I was a little bit all over the board, but I just love the technology side of things, but I also like the personal part. I think that's where maybe the technical consulting came in, but printing actually has just been the perfect combination of my strengths, also my husband's strengths, because he's a natural born salesperson. He loves numbers and finances, and I was the production person. It's been a really good yin and yang.
I imagine from the technology standpoint, it's probably something you absolutely love, getting into understanding how those printers work and how the equipment works and why it does what it does.
Absolutely. And it really does help me also talk the talk with my employees and always has.
Mm-hmm.
So I can keep up with a lot of their jargon.
Yes. So when did you buy the company?
It was in 2002.
Okay. So you've been there quite a long time at this point.
I have been. It shows my age a little bit.
That's okay. We won't mention age. Don't worry about that. As you did this transition over, you moved, had to pick up and move, really start over again in some ways. Has there been one accomplishment or something that really makes you proud of what you're doing and proud to be in the industry?
I'll say a big accomplishment that we had that we still look at this day and are like, how I can't believe it worked. It was back in 2012, and we made a big commitment to buy a brand new building, which was 3.5 times the size of our current one. We were starting to outgrow our last one. And we bought two new presses at the exact same time. I had those installed in a brand new building. So we had a ton of payments. We took on a ton of debt immediately, all at one time. Moving all of your equipment is also another large expense.
Not like you can stick it on the back of a pickup truck and,
Oh,
and
goodness,
have it
no.
drive it down the road.
Which would have been nice. We contemplated, we researched, and we prayed about it. And we just said at the end of the day, go big or go home. That really took us to a trajectory that we're on now. We started seeing double-digit growth. We really started growing, and we needed to make that step and fight that off. That's probably the businessy type accomplishment, but I would probably say that our team is really the thing that we're the most proud of. Our core values include family, as it would being a family run business in the past. And that's just who we are. We've just got a team that we've cultivated that's just as important as the product that we're creating. We enjoy each other and we care about each other. And that's been our favorite part.
And honestly, that makes a big difference because work is a huge portion of your life. It's a huge portion of the lives of your employees. There has to be a reason beyond the paycheck to be at the plant, to be at the shop working.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, if our employees are happy and fulfilled, they're going to be fulfilled at home, they're going to be filled at work, and they're going to work well and work better and be more efficient and be passionate about what we do
Mm-hmm.
and for our clients.
How scary was it for you to make that decision to open up a new building, to buy the new presses, to get everything moved? How scary was that to do that?
Luckily, I had my husband Ty to do it with. I think
Mhm.
if I was on my own, that would have been much more scary. But
Yeah.
we're in it together, but it was very scary for sure. Because you're deciding I'm all in, like I'm more than all in, like I'm really all in. Like we've got a fill capacity now. And it's amazing. It's amazing what happened.
And honestly, at that point, too, in some ways, it's great because then you can design exactly what you need and give yourself room for growth. And you don't have everything crammed in. If you need to get a new press, you really can make thoughtful decisions about how the shop is laid out, where things need to be, how the flow works.
So true.
It's so
So true.
different than working with something you may have had and you're trying to make it work because that's what we have right now.
Right. It's all the space we have right now. But we're outgrowing the space we're in now. So we're trying to figure out, do we buy another building? Do we build across the street? What do we do? But these are great, fun problems to have. And by diversifying the type of business that we have, it's really allowed us to have these niche kind of companies. It allows us to use all of our equipment in new ways.
Mhm.
So the same equipment we already have, we can use it in a new way and just have a small, maybe little finishing piece. It's just really allowed for big things and allow for acquisitions and things that we weren't able to do before.
And honestly, by having those niche businesses also, it gives you strength because if one business is suffering for whatever reason, you may have strength in other sides. And you also are not just offering commodity products. There's a lot of stuff that's in commercial printing may have gotten to it's a price war in many cases.
For sure. For
But
sure. And during COVID, we saw a lot of that. We saw that during the 08, 09. Just there's different times that we've seen things where general commercial printing is having a hard time
mm,
or having a hard time with supplies of certain things, but pricing for sure. But when you have these niche businesses, it's more value add.
mm.
It's carried us in ways when we needed it.
And it gives your customers a different way to look at things if they're doing some kind of promotions or whatnot. Maybe XYZ would work. That's something totally they may not have done before, but this gives you the ability to do that and offer that to them.
Absolutely. And it's really changed the way we treat our customers from those niche businesses because they expect a different type of client experience. So we've moved that into general commercial.
Now, as a woman leader, you're president of the company. Have you ever felt like you're really the only one in the room because you are a woman?
There's many times I have been the only one. It's not like I felt it. I definitely have been the only one. I started off really early getting involved with the state and national printing associations.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, it was the Printing Association of Florida. It was PIA. They've all got some new names now. But being on the board of the Printing Association of Florida, I was on that board for 10 years. And I think I was really the only woman, except for maybe 2 of those years. And those are large boards. It takes a little getting used to for a second, but it can definitely feel like a man's world if you let it. And I think that's what we as women need to not use as a crutch. And we need to say, you know what, I bring a different and I bring a new perspective. And it's appreciated. And maybe as a woman, I work a little bit harder. Or maybe that's just my personality, but we have to embrace who we are. You wouldn't have a seat at the table if you weren't important. I've been to so many trade shows and been one of the only women walking the show that wasn't there, sitting behind a booth. And it can feel a little intimidating. You hold your head up high and your shoulders back, and you just say, I belong here just as much as everybody else, and I'm just as experienced.
How do you get that kind of confidence? Is it something you just have to convince yourself? Is it something you can learn? How do you go about growing and building that kind of confidence?
I think the more experience you have, the more knowledge you have, the more you invest in yourself and your work. I think investing in yourself and knowing that you know just as much as everybody else gives you that confidence to be able to talk the talk, walk the walk.
Okay. For you as a woman, you started in this industry, you started in this company in the early 2000s. You were younger then. What advice would you give to women who are just entering, that are looking to maybe be you, maybe in another company? How would they go about doing that? They might be starting as a CSR. How do they get to that position?
I will say for those people that are coming into the industry, it's a great industry and it's a really great time to be getting in. So the growth, the technology, the advancement, it's a really good time. And I would just say that there's no such thing as a man's job or a woman's job. We've got a woman driver. We have a woman cutter operator. But we also have seen many employees in different types of role move up in the company. People who have been pressmen became sales reps. People who were bindery workers became customer service. And then customer service has turned into scheduling and estimating. I like to think about what our strengths are and invest in those. So oftentimes we think about our weaknesses and maybe, oh, I'm not as good at this, I'm not as good at that, maybe I should work on those. Where I feel, let's really go all in on our strengths, whatever that may be, whether it's organization, whether it's client facing. And I think that when you focus on that, you can start to see movement and leadership, if leadership is the way you want to go, and management, and if responsibility, which is what employers are looking for, people who take responsibility for their work and their product.
Mm-hmm. How does training parlay into that as well?
We like to give our employees a lot of opportunities with training, whether it's from industry specific things or equipment specific things. We have a consultant that comes in once or twice a week, and he's really worked with a lot of our team members on how to build their own 5-year plan, how to help work the Rockefeller habits, which is, okay, this is my goal for this year within the company. These are a few goals, my specific goals, and then let's break those down into quarters and then quarterly, so you don't bite off too much. And then you break it into weeks. Our consultant has really helped our team members really understand that a big, lofty goal doesn't have to feel so big when you break it down into, this is what I need to do this week to make this month, to make this quarter, to make this yearly goal. So I think there's a lot of creative ways that we can learn and build our skills that aren't just technical.
It's interesting because that's actually not something I'd heard before, that you actually have somebody coming in working with your employees on their 5-year plan to help them lean into those strengths that they have and see where they want to be in 5 years. That's interesting that you actually have somebody helping them realize that for themselves.
Sure. And we also have done a lot of personality type testing for our team members, where we can all see each other's strengths and weaknesses. We can understand how each other likes to communicate, how they understand things. but also to make sure that we have a great team, but I want to be sure they're on the right seat of the bus. And if they should be in a different seat, those tools help me really see that, because I don't want my employees or my team members struggling in a position that maybe wasn't built for them, but I have another position over here that they're perfect for.
Hmm. And that's good because that also, it's not like you're looking to get rid of people, but you're looking to make use of everyone to the best of their ability and use their strengths, their skills to help them succeed, which then, of course, the company succeeds as well. It all rolls downhill.
For sure. Once you have good people,
Hmm.
that's the biggest hurdle. Trying to find just good, hardworking, loving people, then you just find where they're best at.
And I think that's a hard thing for the industry as a whole because people, I think in some ways look at printing and they're like, I'm not really sure that's for me. And they don't look any further.
Mm-hmm.
How do we make print sexier for people to come in? That's really what it comes down to. How do we tell them that printing is a good career, that it's a stable career, that it's something that you can really thrive at, whatever your gender is?
It's hard to be able to just tell somebody how great it is. I love to show people. We love giving plant tours. You get somebody in a printing plant and show them all the cool stuff that we're doing. We're custom manufacturers is what printing companies are. And everything we do is different. And look at all the fun we get to have. We can put foil, we can emboss, we can add a scratch off, we can do all sorts of different fun things, or just watching a blank sheet get printed. People find that exciting. And then if you've got the people that are more into efficiency and stuff, like look at all the ways you can help bring automation into our industry. So there's so many roles or so many strengths that people have and interest that really do align with the printing industry that we just need to keep talking about.
Mm-hmm. And we need to still continue to have those conversations. And the more, the merrier at this point.
Absolutely.
You have a husband, you have a family life. One of the things that I find a lot of women struggle with is finding the right balance between work and home life. You're president of a company. There's a lot of responsibilities on you, but yet you're also a wife and you have a family. So how do you balance the two? Is it easy? Is it not? Was it something that, no problem?
There's good days and bad days, but I would say women, we're just very good at balancing, right? That's part of our strength. And I think that's how we were built and how we were made, to be able to balance and prioritize in the right way. I think some of my best employees are women, and it's because they're organized and efficient and they're good at what they do. And so also when we have team members like that, we are happy to be flexible with them. And because we understand there's school pickups and there's school drop-offs and there's field trips and there's sick days. And we know that you have to go home and go to the grocery store maybe and cook dinner and stuff. And if we can bring a less stressful situation at work, we're hoping that then that will make their home life better, which then in turn helps their work. But there's definitely times when it's more difficult, but I think it helps having a good partner if you have a good partner at home. But also, my kids watched me work, and I think they're better for it in their futures. And I know I'm a better mom because I was fulfilled at work.
Mm-hmm. And you're now setting an example of someone that can balance. Look, we have a successful company, but at the same time, we have a really good family, and they can see the example of that firsthand.
Absolutely. Yes. And by the way, they love the industry too. So I don't think that's necessarily their path getting into it, but they love coming to the office. They worked there many summers. They brought their friends to come work when we've needed. My son did an AI presentation to all of my team members 2 summers ago, just explaining what AI is, because it was coming out and everyone was a little scared of what it meant. He came in and explained it, and he showed examples and showed how we can use it, but also like ways he sees the printing industry might eventually use it. So I think it's great to get our kids involved in the industry too.
It'll be interesting because you didn't necessarily decide to start in the printing industry either. You went your own way. So who's to say that your kids might have not a change of heart, but they might have a change of career as well.
Which we would welcome. So who knows?
Never know. Maybe there'll be a Gen 6
I know, that's right.
That'd be awesome. We got to keep that lineage going.
Yes, thank you.
Wrapping up, and this is probably my favorite question that I always ask, is knowing what you know now. So, based on your history, your background, when you started, all the things you've been through, if you were just starting out in the industry today, if you were just walking in the door, what advice would you give to yourself?
I would probably say be confident and be assertive. You're in that room for a reason. You walked in that door for a reason. Take advantage of the opportunities. Lean into your strengths without focusing on your weaknesses. I would say get to know the people around you because there is so much to learn from the veterans of our industry that are there. They have seen things change, but they know color better than anybody. They know paper, they know layouts. There is just so many pieces of printing that's so important. And I would just say, try to learn it all. Try to learn a little bit about the whole process. Whenever we hire somebody, the first 2 weeks when they start, they just get to hang out around the plant. They sit with the cutter operator one day. They sit with the pressman one day. They sit with the digital. They sit with wide format. They sit in different places because we want them to really get to know what we do. And I think that's so important. So often people get siloed into their little role that they're not seeing the big picture. If you think of what's required with estimating, everything's required with estimating. You can't just bring an estimator in if they don't know the industry or a customer service rep. There's just so many things that I think that just get to know how cool it is what we do.
Mm-hmm. So be confident in your decision, but also be humble enough to be teachable.
That's so good.
I think that's what I got out of what you just said.
No, that's really good. That's really good. Yeah, and just be willing to learn and willing to mess up because it's going to happen.
We're human. Not
right.
We're not perfect in any stretch of the imagination, but learn from those that have been there because the information that some of our veterans know, I just can't imagine the knowledge that we might lose when they eventually retire.
Exactly.
Because there's just so much there.
Yep, that's exactly right. And so I would just say this is just such a great industry, and I welcome more young people and more women because we have so much to offer. This is a creative world we live in, and we're creative beings, and let's get out there and see what's next for printing.
I think that's great advice.
Thanks.
So Kimberly, thank you again for taking the time today. I really appreciated our conversation.
I did too. Thanks so much.
Thank you for joining us on this journey to celebrate and amplify the voices of women in the printing industry. If you have a story to share or know someone whose journey deserves to be highlighted, we'd love to hear from you. Together, let's continue inspiring and empowering the next generation of leaders. Until next time, keep leaving your imprint. This is Her Imprint. See you soon.